Good morning, kids. How's everybody doing? Welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Abyss AM Edition. I'm your host, The Eternal Abyss. I hope you have your coffee. I have mine. Oh boy. So here we are. Another news cycle, another day, another bit of insanity, and some stuff that's kind of unexpected. I looked at the news reports today, and there are a couple things that I wasn't, as I mentioned, quite expecting to see. And we're gonna go right into it. And we're gonna talk a little bit about this stuff. We're gonna have some coffee, and I hope everyone has a good time. But first and foremost, I want to say hello to everybody. I want to say hello everybody on Bitwave. I want to say hello to everybody on D Live, everybody on YouTube, and everybody on Periscope. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing good. One of the big things that I saw this morning that I didn't think about for a long time was this woman who was at the center of a huge scandal in the 1990s. There was this woman, Kay Letourneau. I'm probably mispronouncing her last name. For those that aren't familiar with her name, she was that school teacher who was convicted of raping of rape of a 12-year-old Filipino boy who was her student, who she ended up marrying and having, like, I think three kids, something like that. So kind of a summary of what was going on is she passed away today or yesterday, like within the past 24 hours. She apparently had cancer. 58 years old, passed away. I was not expecting to hear that kind of news today about this individual. I remember this started a huge news trend that you heard. Up until that point, you really hadn't heard too much about teachers abusing children that they teach, and this person was basically an eye opener. Well, I mean, an eye opener for those that wanted to have their eyes open. Others, not so much. This to me, when I heard about this news back then, yeah, two children. That's right, two children. I was just checking the numbers here. I mean, hey, Runer, how you doing, sir? Thank you for joining the stream. Um, what it opened for me, my eyes, wasn't really anything in particular. It was more the fact that, I mean, if people thought that abuses didn't happen in school, they're gravely mistaken. It's naive to think that that sort of thing doesn't happen. Any place where children are, you're going to always have a percentile of pedophiles and abusers that go there because that's where the victims are. That's where they'll find the fodder for what they're seeking. So to me, it wasn't so much a surprise when I heard about this, but I did find the news cycle interesting because once this happened with this one individual, she really was the one that made this whole trend of reporting on this start. And after that, you had report after report of all these things happening, little by little. So she was pretty significant in the news cycle for a while and in the news. And yeah, she passed away today, or yesterday. He apparently, they separated in 2017 because she did marry the kid. They finalized their separation last August. but never divorced. And he apparently cared for her in the last few months of her life. She was from Seattle, by the way. For those that might be interested in knowing the geographic location of where this whole thing occurs, um she had stage 4 colon cancer. Apparently, she battled with this for 9 months, and she succumbed to the cancer. So I'm just reporting on this. I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I feel that I'm afraid I don't feel much sympathy for people who abuse children. So, not that I wish ill upon anyone. I don't wish ill upon anyone or death or violence or anything like that. But sympathy is very limited for people who take advantage of children. So there's that. In other news, moving on. One interesting thing that's been coming up lately in the news is this return to the debate about free speech. It's been very interesting in these past couple days if you've been paying attention to that, because you've had a turn, and you've had a change of heart of sorts from some people. So you have people who are on different sides of the political spectrum. But what's most interesting is people like Noam Chomsky, who joined a bunch of like journalists and other people in writing a letter about the closed-minded intolerance of cancel culture and that sort of bad way of thinking when it comes to free speech. So you have people, like I said, even Noam Chomsky is saying that the cancel culture is ridiculous. This guy's a leftist Marxist, by the way. And the left has turned on him. You have people criticizing him for it. Because he criticized the cancel culture. And then you have people like J.K. Rowling, who, and a bunch of other, like 150, I think, was it, public figures, so to speak, writers, academics, and activists, including authors J.K. Rowling, Salman Rushdie, and Margaret Atwood, I don't even know who those other two people are, have signed an open letter denouncing the restriction of debate. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting that all of a sudden there's an interest in protecting free speech when you're the one that got attacked? Like in the case of J.K. Rowling talking about transgender, and women's rights and things like that, because she's been heavily criticized for how she's handled that and what she's spoken about regarding that. Personally, I don't care about her opinions one way or the other. I don't think she's even that great of an author. I think, unpopular opinion, I know a lot of people are going to be unhappy with what I'm going to say about J.K. Rowling. Harry Potter's literary drivel, in my view. I'm the type of person that reads Dante, Giacomo Leopardi, Iliad and the Homer, the Odyssey, Cervantes, I like Whitman. Those are the authors and poets that I lean towards. Stuff like, I've tried to read Harry Potter. I've tried to read Twilight, that Twilight Saga, whatever it's called. My brain was screaming stop because it was in sheer pain. So that's how I feel. Hello, Troll 7ZZX. No one on Bitway is upset with the opinion, or probably anyone is not leftist. I don't know. There are people that are like really, really, really big fans of Harry Potter, and I just think it's not that great. It's formulaic. Um, she found a formula that was commercially popular. It's made her gobs of money, and good for her. If that's the case, not that if that's the case, that is the case. Good for her and everything. But to me, it's like I tried to read it and I've tried to get into it, and it just for me just doesn't quite work. Um, I'd rather read stuff that has a bit more substance to it. That's just me, just drinking my coffee. Yummy. So I just find it ironic that all of a sudden these public figures are fighting for free speech and open debate without their livelihoods and careers being at risk, and like all this cancel culture basically. So up until it affected them personally, they didn't have an issue with this. Like years ago, you had people like Ben Shapiro, Milo Yiannopoulos, all these Alex Jones, all these people that are condemning this sort of thing now. Are they going to condemn the companies and the people that tried to cancel Alex Jones, Milo Yiannopoulos, Ben Shapiro, all these other conservative speakers? Are they? Because if they're going to be consistent in their messaging, they should. Because whether you agree or not with Milo, whether you agree or not with Ben Shapiro, whether you agree or not with Alex Jones, if you're pushing for free speech and you're saying, you shouldn't cancel people based off of just their opinions on something, then why don't they make a statement on that? And I would love to see their Twitter timelines. All these 150 people. If anybody has any time to blow, unfortunately I don't have that much time on my hands. But if anybody has a good amount of time to blow, please do go to J.K. Rowling's Twitter account and see what she was if she ever defended Alex Jones or she ever defended Milo Yiannopoulos or Ben Shapiro. I would love to see that if any of these people defended conservatives during the time when they were being horribly attacked, and people were trying to cancel them and ban them, and even gab people like Andrew Torba, where you had web hosts denying his website. You still have this today with Apple. I mentioned this yesterday. Apple will not, and Android, Google and Apple would not put Gab as an app on their app stores because reasons. The exact same style of app, like Parler and Minds, is on there. On top of that, you have games on the Apple Store that simulate human torture. But something that tweets, like Twitter, something that's similar to Twitter, and people can say mean things. Oh, no, we can't have that on the Apple Store. We can't have that on the Google Play Store. Please. Give me a freaking break. Taking a sip of my coffee here. See, it's the height of hypocrisy to only care about something when it affects you. And that's the problem that I have with people like J.K. Rowling. And I will be fair. Let's try and be fair. Let's try and keep an open mind. Maybe she didn't express an opinion regarding conservatives being silenced and unpersoned and things like that and canceled, so to speak. Maybe she didn't express anything. Maybe she wasn't a hypocrite. At least a hypocrite to that degree. But to say nothing and do nothing, and then when it hits you, you say something and do something, that's still hypocritical. I have been talking about this sort of free speech and open debate issue for many years. And even before all this nonsense of cancel culture and before all this nonsense of all the garbage that you see on Twitter and social media, for many years when I would have discussions with people in different situations, be it academia, be it amongst friends, be it just in a social situation where things end up going in a direction of debating or discussing politics or religion or philosophy or things like that. Invariably, invariably, it would end up that people would get offended and feel personally attacked over just an opinion that was expressed. Many times I have been insulted merely because I disagreed with an opinion. So this isn't something that just came out of the blue like that. Absolutely not. No, no, no. This is something that has been going around for quite a while, and now this is reaching that culmination, that breaking point, because now people that are on the left are feeling the effect of the Frankenstein monster that they created. And now that they feel the effect, now all of a sudden they're going, oh, wait a minute, maybe this is a bad thing. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to just cry wolf every single time someone expressed an opinion. Maybe, just maybe, it wasn't a good idea to push for the cancellation of people because I didn't agree with their opinion. Maybe. But lo, here we are. This is 2020. Where Noam Chomsky goes ahead and says, your cancel culture thing is BS. And he gets attacked for it. We live in a clown world. I swear. This is like the world is just upside down. It is just absolutely crazy. I don't even know what to think anymore. So, again, here we are. Sorry, just replying to a couple text messages here. I know I shouldn't text on stream. bad Eternal Abyss. Anyways, I just wait for my coffee to cool down a little bit. It's a little bit too piping hot. But more stuff that's in the news. There's been a lot of talk about actually another really big thing happened. There had been talk about the United States withdrawing from the WHO, not the band, the World Health Organization, and it's happened. We've done it. There we go. So some people, you're gonna have mixed feelings about this. I know some people are gonna say it's not a good idea, and some people, like myself, I don't think it's a bad idea. For those that think it's a bad idea, let's review a couple things. I just want to throw this out there, and you make up your mind. Just chew on it, savor it, think about it, and you tell me. You tell me what's going on. Sorry, just I saw a trend for a second, and I thought that something big had happened here while I was talking, but I was wrong. So use the pause for a moment there. That threw me off. So there's a couple things actually. Before I'll talk about the WHO as I was saying, but there's several things happening with the Supreme Court that I want to just address that just came up as well. All right, sorry about the pause. I just saw these notifications come through, and I want to make sure that I cover it because breaking news. But anyways, let's review the Who. Okay, a lot of people say, "Oh, the Who is the source that countries are supposed to go to in the case of pandemics or epidemics or things like that." And we shouldn't be leaving it. Well, let's review how good the Who has been in the past. So, and I actually brought up an article here on my phone regarding that because this article is by the Atlantic, so take it with a grain of salt. First of all, that I'm sourcing this from, and this is from April 2020. I'm just full disclosure. This article is by Kathy Gilsonen. Yep, I'm pronouncing that correctly, I hope. And she does criticize the Who here, and I want to talk about those critiques because I thought they were very interesting. Though she's a bit of an apologetic for it because she blames China more than anything. She says, well, the Who is only working with the information that they get. So if China gives them bad information, what can they do about it? They can do a lot about it, actually. First and foremost, the first thing that they can do is don't make prognostications. Don't take hardline stances. Don't say this is what it is, and then all of a sudden you were wrong. If you don't have the correct information, you don't go with that incorrect information and say, well, this is it. And there's people in this article that are quoted saying, well, I worked for them and we're just only as good as the information we get. So they're aware that the information they get isn't great. So why are you taking a hard line? Why are you making a tweet and stances and praising China and doing all this kind of stuff when you admit that the information that you get isn't really that great? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense now, does it? But let's just go over a little bit. So, this article goes back to January, but I mean, honestly, this whole thing started before January with this. I don't need to go into the whole history of this COVID pandemic, but suffice to say, January is when things really started hitting the fan because the WHO's Director General, Tedra, all he was doing initially was just basically regurgitating Chinese talking points. That was the first problem. China didn't even, want to admit that there was human-to-human transmission. They, and the WHO tweeted that, saying, "Oh, there's no evidence of human-to-human transmission." And that was absolutely wrong. Another thing that was that happened when it was clear that there was human to human transmission was there was one doctor, Dr. Li Wenliang, who was censored for quote unquote spreading rumors by the Chinese government regarding the spread of the virus. When he got the virus and died, the WHO, all that they did was, oh, we mourn the loss of a fellow physician and colleague. That's what they said. They didn't say anything about China condemning him for quote unquote spreading rumors or anything like that. Then they flip flopped on masks throughout this entire thing. They've had contradictory tweets about that. Then they finally tweeted, "Oh yeah, actually, it's transmissible between humans." They um they praised China for setting a new standard for outbreak response, quote unquote. And another month and a half passed before they called the COVID-19 a pandemic. So, and at this point, when they called COVID-19 a pandemic, you already had more than 4,000 people killed, and it had infected 118 people across nearly every continent. And even the WHO, if I recall, I remember seeing tweets condemning travel bans, as did China, as did Joe Biden, saying, "Oh, it's racist." So, this is the problem here. This is the problem with the WHO as an organization. Um, they very much don't have, and the article does say that the WHO doesn't really have an authority to do anything. In the past, they there were some situations where they didn't want to call something a pandemic because they didn't want to offend some African countries, for example. So the WHO is highly politicized. And if the WHO wants to be an organization that wants to be respected, and it wants to be an organization that people listen to, and that wants to be an authority, uh, screw pandering, screw being political. If you want to stand on your own legs and on your own 2 feet when it comes to, if you're going to be an organization that has to sit down and say, hey, this is a pandemic, you got to do this, this, and this. Hey, this is a bad thing, you got to do this, this, and this. Screw the political side of things. Too bad if a country gets insulted. Too bad if you criticize someone. Or if you criticize a government. And then, most of all, we primarily fund them. Most of the money that the WHO gets comes from, guess what? The United States. Much like the UN and NATO. The US funds all these international organizations, and they do nothing for us. Oh, sure. Well, yeah, it's a nice little global thing where all the communities come together, all the governments come together and talk and all that kind of stuff. Hello, Todd Davis. Welcome to the stream from YouTube. What are you saying? I gotta bring the page up here. Let's see. Donald Trump waved his arms like a moron and said it would just disappear like 2 months ago and said it again last week. So what about that? Well, listen. There's been a lot of bad information from the CDC as well. Fauci, for example, and Birx have provided every wrong prediction you can think of. But at least you have to give Donald Trump some credit, because he, at the very beginning, in January, was saying to stop travel from China. For example, he was already taking steps while people on the left, specifically Joe Biden and people on the left, were saying he was racist for doing so. So if you're going to criticize Trump for saying something like that, which I don't like when he says, like these sort of firm numbers and dates, because there's no way to know based off of the information at hand whether it would have lasted 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years or anything like that. So I don't really like that he does this sort of thing. He has these he deals in absolutisms, which I find slightly disconcerting. But I will give him credit for the fact that he actually did act on it. He actually did act on it before the Democrats did. Democrats like Pelosi was who? Kitty Styles? No, I'm not Kitty Style. Hey, intruder, who are you talking to? But I mean, you had people on the left up until March. Are you gonna criticize them, Todd? Are you gonna criticize Pelosi for telling people go and celebrate Chinese New Year? Go to Chinatown? Are you gonna criticize De Blasio for telling people to go to a film festival in New York City? And that was just a flu. There was nothing wrong. Just a flu. Go to the subways. Or the New York Health Commissioner telling people to go to Chinatown as well. Go to Chinese restaurants. Go to celebrate Chinese New Year. Are you going to criticize them too? Because if you criticize Trump for what you're saying, you should criticize them too, or unless you're a hypocrite. But you know, that's the problem. It's very easy to criticize Trump on these things because he's the president. Of course, it's easy to criticize him. And like I said, I have my own critiques as well. I don't like that he deals with in absolutisms, for example. I've never liked that. But if you want to criticize him, you very much should criticize everybody that was involved in this response, especially Cuomo and Whitmer and all these all these other governors that put like COVID patients in nursing homes, in senior homes, in nursing homes. So let's be clear. You can't throw the blame only on one person. I find that there is a lot of fault to be found all around. The WHO has been doing nothing but saying contradictory tweets left and right, being very political, being very much driven by China. All adults butthurt by chat now. I don't know what's going on, intruder. Am I missing something? Welcome to the stream, by the way, intruder. No, I'm just replying to someone who mentioned something here on YouTube. So I just wanted to address that. That's all. So that's it's interesting to me when you have all these people losing their mind on Twitter because the U.S. is pulling out of the WHO. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that it's an opportunity, actually. I think it's an opportunity for the WHO to reevaluate itself and say, well, you know what? What did we do wrong? How can we better ourselves? And if they fix themselves, I would have no problem with the U.S. going back into it. But as it stands right now, I have zero faith in the WHO. I have zero faith in political, partisan organizations that kowtow to authoritarian governments. Sorry. Now, if the UN and the WHO and these organizations want to be less partisan, then I am more than happy to take them more seriously. But if they're not going to be if all they're going to do is be partisan, I don't really have much of an interest in them because obviously they're going to push an agenda. Obviously, they're not going to be interested in what their goals are as a global organization because all they're doing is pushing their agenda. Or they're being too politically correct, or they're afraid to offend people. Shut up. Afraid to offend. How can you be afraid to offend people in a pandemic when the point is you're supposed to try and save people's lives? That right there should be grounds for dismantling the entire WHO. That right there should be grounds to dismantle that entire organization. I'm sorry. No, and you know what? I'm not sorry. That's just stupid. That's just clearly stupid, and there's no reason for that to happen. Oh, goodness. Like, the world that we live in, I swear. I'm gonna take another sip of my coffee, excuse me. Oh, yeah. Coffee makes everything better. I'm not saying it absolves Trump. I'm just saying that If you have he first of all, with all the people that he has, in politics in general, I take everything. Runer is saying in politics in general, I take everything, and I always have with a grain of salt and low expectations. So if Trump wants to speak in absolutes, I don't take that as an absolute. It's bureaucracy, and it's a game that he has to play. Unfortunately, and there's truth to that, Runer, and I agree. The thing is, and that's what I was gonna say. So you have Trump, you have not just Trump, any president. What happened when Obama was in charge and you had the Ebola stuff come out? Well, what did he say? He said the same exact kind of stuff. Oh, this is not a big deal. Oh, this is all under control. Oh, nothing's going to spread. Oh, this and that. Oh, this and this, and whatever. He was doing the same exact thing that any president would do. Obama did it. Trump did it. You had other presidents that did it as well during any sort of crisis. The point of the president is to come out there and try and put a positive spin on things. That's what a president is going to do. And on top of that, if you have people that he's surrounded by that are throwing all this information left and right, you had people like Fauci who was saying you're going to have 2 million deaths, which never happened. Not even close. The death rate's not even close to that at all. Then you have some vindication in the fact, like the hydroxychloroquine thing. You have people saying, "Oh, he's lying. He's trying to poison people. He doesn't know what he's talking about." And now there's studies saying that Trump was right about that. So the thing about how the president comes out in these sort of crisis situations, sure, he's gonna say stuff like that. And, well, Trump was not wrong, though. Ultimately, if you think about it, the response that Trump has made has not really been that bad. Whether you like him or not, the death rate is very small, actually. The death rate has been contained. The number of tests has increased exponentially. Everybody was criticizing him about the number of tests. Now we have so many tests that the numbers are the numbers of infected are showing in greater numbers and more accuracy. And now they're criticizing him for those numbers, but before, everybody was criticizing him for the lack of numbers and because there was no testing. Now that he's provided all the tests, now all of a sudden that's a bad thing too. It's like, the problem with Trump and the media and this sort of thing is he's damned if you do, damned if you don't. And whether Obama was right or not and Trump was right or not, it doesn't change the fact that when these things happen, presidents have to come out with a positive spin on things. They have to try and provide hope. And the media was criticizing him for providing hope when he was acting before any other Democrat acted, by, mind you. They called him racist for acting. So what is it? You either criticize him for acting or criticize him for not acting. The thing is, people on the left, the media, and Democrats love to blame Trump for everything because that's what they want to do. And then you have people like Fauci that are throwing numbers, pulling numbers out of his ass. Like, I don't know what the hell, he's like a party favor. He's just pulling these numbers. Oh, we're going to have 2 million dead. No, we're not. Oh, the models that we have are all accurate. No, they're not. Masks don't work. Don't wear them. Oh, no, masks work. Wear them. Oh, masks are more of a virtue signal. Oh, if the camera's off, I'm going to take my mask off. That's Fauci. So you're dealing with a lot of politicization of a medical issue, which is the main problem. That is where all these problems lie. It doesn't lie with one person in particular. It lies with a across the board politicization on the right and on the left. Yeah, that was a joke. If you can't understand humor, troll, then sorry. That's kind of on you. But the point is, you had China mishandle everything. China lied about everything, which increased the spread. They could have shut down everything way sooner to contain this thing. They could have told people from the very beginning this was a bad thing that was spreading between humans, and that you need to. And all the countries, Europe, the Americas, any country, they should have shut down travel from China directly. This should have been contained from the very beginning. This should have stayed in China and should not have left. But what happened? Chinese New Year. Everybody traveled. He was joking about that. He jokes. If you can't take a joke, again, that's on you. But anyways, point being is that throughout this entire thing, everybody has been prognosticating and throwing numbers out all over the place. And everybody's been wrong about this. The only thing that you can really look at right now, and even the stuff that you look at right now, you have to also keep in mind how those numbers and data is received. Is that even though you have an increase in the number of cases, which are partly due to all this crap that's been happening recently, also, you've had an opening, you had a lot of openings in certain states, and it was predicted by Fauci and others, one of the few times they actually predicted something that kind of came true. When these things open, you're going to see an uptick. You may not think so, but it was. I'm sorry if you can't get humor. Again, that's up to you. I'm not gonna relitigate this whole thing. The point is, you also had all these riots, and 2 weeks later, guess what? You got a spike in numbers. You have 500,000 tests, 500,000 tests being done daily. Obviously, you're gonna get higher numbers, and there's no denying that. New York still has the higher numbers. And then, but on top of that, let's not even look into that for the moment. The point being is this. I got sidetracked here. The point being is this, okay? You have far more testing happening, which reflects in the numbers. Obviously, if you increase testing, you're going to get more accurate numbers. You're going to get a higher amount of numbers. And plus, if you have places opening and you have people gathering for riots, arson, all sorts of stuff, looting, yeah, you're going to get spread if thousands of people gather. Okay? That's going to happen. In fact, there's a huge indication from the data that the spike in numbers with the low mortality rate shows that the number of people getting COVID are younger now. So that's something that can be extrapolated from the data. On top of that, this is a trend that's happening right now. People are saying, oh, the low mortality rate is nothing to celebrate. What are you talking about? It's absolutely something to celebrate. The fact that we're treating it better. The fact that the hydroxychloroquine study has shown that that is an effective treatment. And that is true, Runor. The one you're saying, Runor is saying that the one thing about Trump is that nobody expects the president to have a layman's conversation with you as if you're talking face to face with him. And that he does it in a lot of speeches, so you have to realize, just as if he was talking to my best friend. I am for that level of personalization. And that is one thing that a lot of people in the media especially, they just can't wrap their heads around, because politicians are supposed to have this kind of like more righteous than thou attitude, and this higher than thou attitude in how they speak, super polished, super. That's why everybody loved the media, apart from the fact that he's a Democrat, but everybody loved Obama in the media because the guy basically was Wyatt Earp with teleprompters. He always had teleprompters on him. He was always proper, primed, and silver-tongued. And as soon as one of his teleprompters would go out, the guy was a bumbling moron. He couldn't put two words together. But he had that persona. He had that politician's polished delivery that they all loved, and it was all focus grouped and all that kind of stuff. So everybody loved him for that in the media, and also because he was their little darling. He was their little messiah. As Hannity would call him, the anointed one. And my God, I remember seeing books. You know, when books were still being sold. I'm aging myself, I know. Excuse me. Need a sip of my coffee here. Remember those square things with paper in them with an ink? Yeah, there were books on him. Oh, he's the Messiah. He's gonna save the world. He's gonna, shut up. There was nothing messianic about him. There was nothing messianic about him. The guy was a joke. He was probably one of the worst presidents the United States have ever had. I thought, Carter was bad. He was like a black Carter. He was like he was bad. He was just as bad as Carter. And I know some people don't like I've said that before, calling him a black Carter. And a lot of people don't like that because oh, that's racist. I'm like, what's so racist about it? I'm saying he's as bad as a white guy. I'm actually trying to give him some credit. I'm trying to say that it has nothing to do with his skin color. The fact that he's bad, he's just as bad as a white guy. Equality. That's what it is. I don't understand. I don't think it's anything. I don't know. I don't perceive it as anything bad. I don't know. That's just me. But what I was mentioning about the Supreme Court earlier, because let's move on. Before I move on, actually, I've already been streaming for about 45 or 50 minutes, I think, right? Oh, an hour. Oh, I've been streaming for about an hour or so. Well, I mean, it's about 45 minutes, actually, yeah. Because I had a 15-minute or so coffee brewing preamble. I have never paid for an ebook. I don't blame you, intruder. They're pretty easy to come by. Let's see. Troll is saying, did you see Twitter explode when he posted a meme video and CNN literally said he was lying because the video he used out of context and every comment was in before Trump tells me I don't understand memes. When they don't get it, they are so dumb. Yeah, the fact that the fact that a major news outlet, the fact that a major news outlet is fact-checking memes and funny videos on social media, on the internet, that shows you the level of idiocy that we've reached in this country when it comes to not just our country, but in the world in general. But a lot has to do with the United States, with how the media. How the media acts and how they perceive their position to be. How far the media has fallen in terms of credibility. That right there is a clear indication of how far the credibility of the media has fallen. It's a joke. It's a meme. Do you not understand what that is? Have these people never used the internet? It seems like these people sometimes when I listen to CNN and I read tweets and articles like from Acosta or what's his face, Steven Crowder calls him the eunuch. What's his name, Statler or whatever? I don't remember anymore. I don't care. I don't even, my brain doesn't even want to retain their names in my head anymore. Brian Stetler, isn't it? I think I'm mispronouncing his name. It's something else. Let's see, CNN Brian something here. Stelter, yeah, Stelter. Okay, I was right. I was just mispronouncing it, but I was right. Brian Stelter. Um, these guys, Cuomo, Lemon, all these jokers that are on CNN. I mean, the stuff that they say. And people criticize, like even I criticize Trump for being for dealing in absolutisms. My God, Trump got nothing on these guys. The stuff that they say based off of nothing is mind blowing. But I'm not gonna. I'm not. I don't want to get on a media rant right now because I do that fairly regularly. But I do want to talk about because I do have another criticism of the media to make regarding the Supreme Court here. Um, well, perhaps the media. I don't know if the media is too much to blame in this one. Maybe, maybe not. I'm not too sure. But essentially, before I move on, though, I need to do some shameless self promotion. Support me. Follow me on social media. If you are tired of conservatives being censored, shut down, thrown aside, uh, under the heel of tech tyranny and all that fun stuff. Support folks like myself, streamlabs.com/the eternal abyss. Any level of generosity is greatly appreciated. As well as just sharing the good word. Follow me on Twitter, on Gab, on Minds, on Parler while I'm there. Who knows how long that's going to last either. But follow me also on all different video platforms that I stream on. Follow me on Bitwave, hit that notification bell. Follow me on YouTube and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Periscope, DLive.tv. For all these platforms that I am on, probably not Bitwave, because I don't think there's going to be any circumstance where I'm going to find myself banned from Bitwave. I don't see that happening. But every other platform, I am at their whim and mercy. So your support is not only appreciated, but it's almost required. I need you to keep going. So if you can support me, that would be great. I appreciate it. Donating crypto, you mean? You want to give me crypto? Yeah, I suppose you can. I can set that up. I don't particularly have that set up because I'm not a big crypto fan, but if someone wants to give me a Bitcoin, I'm not gonna say no. you know? Take another sip of my coffee here. Well, see, and that's very true, troll 7ZZX. You're saying would the left appreciate if Stephen Colbert's videos were frame by frame analyzed by Fox News, telling them that no, Donald Trump doesn't use an orange peeler for skincare. So, um, well, like I said, troll, I'm open to crypto. I'm just it's something I don't place a lot of faith in, so I haven't really heavily invested or done much because if you look at the numbers of how crypto has gone up and down, it's a wild ride, and it's nothing is the problem I have is there's nothing. Pardon me, nothing backing it up. So I mean, and I'm not an expert on that sort of stuff. Like I said, I'm not going to say to people do or do not do something. But all I say when it comes to crypto, it is growing. It is growing, true. But I would say just if you're dealing with stuff like that, just be careful with it. That's it. Be careful. Be very on top of it. And I would much rather, like, if I were to deal in crypto or even just the stock market in general. I don't delve too much in that. I would say hire someone to deal with that on a daily basis. because I think it would behoove anyone to um see where you can take advantage of that, earn something. Sure, yeah, why not? But also be very careful. That's all I tell people when it comes to that sort of thing. It's your money, it's your choice. Do what you want to do with it. Oh, no kidding, intruder. So maybe you and I should have a conversation about that. Hmm. Well, I mean, there's certain crypto you can get into, but they're not going to be as profitable as other crypto. That's the only problem. Short sales. Yep. Yeah, and I think that's the key. It's not something that I don't think that you stick with it for like it's like the stock market is a long game. I think with crypto, it's kind of a little bit the opposite. But again, I could be wrong because I'm not an expert on that sort of thing. I know I've never really followed it that much. That's just my perception from a layperson. But I could set up a wallet, and if people want to donate crypto, sure, I can start working on that. If you have any recommendations, intruder, for a good app, a good wallet, I can definitely do that. I'm open to that sort of stuff. I'm not the kind of person that just says, "Oh, I'm not gonna do that," because I just don't have a lot of faith in it. Sometimes you gotta take a little bit of a risk. Mm-hmm. Coffee. Yes. So, one other thing that I wanted to talk about today is so there's some news, couple different news items that have come out from Supreme Court. So there is a 7-2 decision that rules in favor of Catholic schools facing discrimination lawsuits from 2 employees. The courts find that the employees performed religious duties and fall under the ministerial exemption. Um, so let me kind of see. So this is what it boils down to. It seems I haven't heard about this case, so I don't know all the details about it. So I'm not really going to express an opinion one way or the other, at least at this point. It says that employment discrimination suits by teachers fired by Catholic elementary schools are barred by ministerial exception. So, from what I'm understanding, these people that sued the school were suing because they felt they were being discriminated against, but they weren't like teaching or following like Catholic doctrine. So if that's the case, being that it's a private institution and the school has these certain rules that they would want taught or behaved in a certain way, um, I think I would have to agree. I would have to agree with the Supreme Court case. Now, there's going to be some different interpretations of this, I'm sure. I'm going to bring up the so this is the Our Lady of Guadalupe School versus Boris C. Beru. And basically, the crux of this case boils down to that the First Amendment protects the rights of religious institutions to decide for themselves, free from state interference, matters of church government, as well as those of faith and doctrine. So, if the matter of firing of these people had to do with faith and doctrine, then Sotomayor and Ginsburg can dissent all they want. If the First Amendment protects religious institutions, that's the First Amendment. So that was one thing that came out here right now while we were doing the stream here, while I was doing the stream. And I just wanted to touch upon that. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the case. I would have to read through this entire opinion to maybe talk about it further. I'll try and see if I have some time today to review it, and maybe tomorrow I can go into more detail about it. But I do think that it's an interesting case, just on the surface from what I've seen so far, and I would like to kind of dig into that deeper if I have time. Unfortunately, today after the stream, I'm a little busy. We'll see what happens with that. But another thing that was very interesting was that John Roberts, apparently in June, had some sort of issue and he fell and hit his head. And this is coming out now, like a month later. And a lot of people are a little confused about that. Because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense that they would hide that sort of thing. They're claiming that it was just he fell because he was lightheaded from dehydration. I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. So I don't know. I don't quite get why they would conceal that. It seems suspicious to me. I'm not one that really delves into conspiracy. I try not to. And I don't try and be, cloak and dagger, weird stuff happening all the time. No problem, troll. Enjoy the weeb shit. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. So that's the only thing. It is weird that they wouldn't report on this, and they're being really secretive about John Roberts falling and hitting his head and things like that. It's a little strange. It's a little odd. I think it would make sense for them, and I don't know if this is a media thing or if this is just his representatives, because I'm sure that John Roberts has an entourage of sorts, like the Supreme Court justices generally have offices that would have PR stuff that they would report on this sort of stuff, I'm sure. But I don't know. I find it a little strange. That's all. That's what I wanted to say about that. I find it a little peculiar. Other little tidbits that are coming out in the news. Kanye West says he no longer supports President Trump. Who cares? I never cared that Kanye Trump supported Trump or not. Kanye West in general, I've always found to be a very unstable individual. When he supported Trump, I was like, great, having a celebrity that voiced support for Trump, I think was a good thing. And if he doesn't now, well, I mean, it's his choice. What am I gonna say? It's up to him. I just think that the guy doesn't seem to be very stable, in my opinion. He's never seemed that way from all the stunts that he's pulled. He is the kind of person I find that just pulls stunts left and right, tries to get a lot of attention, jumps on stage when other people are winning awards. He does all sorts of crazy stuff. So and he married a Kardashian. That's all you need to know, really. So I never put a lot of weight on Kanye. I've never really thought his music was all that great to begin with anyways. I don't think he's some sort of rap genius as he thinks he is. So I mean, listen, like I said, it's up to him. He can support whoever he wants. He can support himself since he's running for president apparently, and he wants to base his policies off a movie. So good luck, Kanye. If you weren't a joke before, you're probably gonna be a big joke now. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, but you know what the funny thing is, troll? You're saying all the weight's been put on Kim. The funny thing is this: she actually went and talked to Trump about something of policy, something of substance. When there was this lady who was serving in jail unjustly, and through that, interaction and work that she did, um, their reform came from that with the second chance act, I think it was called, where this lady's term this lady's um um oh, what's it called? I can't speak today. Like, the words aren't coming to me. Her sentence was commuted. That's the word I was looking for. I needed a sip of the coffee for more caffeine to make that connection. Her sentence was commuted, and she and this lady got out of jail now, thanks to Kim Kardashian and Trump working together on this. So actually, of all people, like, if we want to talk about Kim Kardashian being silly as she is, she actually did something though. All that Kanye has done is self-promotion, jumping around and talking about himself. That's it. Oh yeah, I remember that too, Troll, when he said he was only going to do gospel music when he was jumping on the Christian bandwagon. You meant figuratively, the fat ways on. I don't know. I don't want to criticize people for their physical appearance. I'm gonna try. I try to stay away from that. Um, all I'm gonna say about her is that she does have some odd, disproportionate features on her body, but that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna dive into that barrel. So I don't know. I don't really care. I never really cared about his opinion. I thought that it was nice when he was actually supporting Trump, speaking pro-Trump, all that kind of stuff. Um, if he doesn't support him now, like I said, his choice. The guy seems to waffle more than a Waffle House, so up to him. Honestly, completely his choice and up to him. I'm not interested. And all that. There's another trend that's happening right now on Twitter regarding, again, Senator Duckworth and Tucker Carlson, where the trend is "she has more balls than you" is the hashtag that's being touted about right now. So, like I said yesterday, and I'm gonna say this one thing. Like, I mentioned this online, and I'm gonna say it again. I appreciate anyone that serves our country, okay? And I thank them for their service. I'm not going to deny that. However, having served our country is not an excuse for saying horrible crap about our country, saying horrible crap about the history of our country, and being you can be anti-American even if you served in in the military, even if you suffered injuries like Senator Duckworth has. Okay, I'm sorry. Serving and being injured while serving does not preclude you from criticism. You can be wrong even if you served in the military and you suffered severe injuries from it. Does that take away her service? No. Does that take away, do I say no thank you for your service? Of course not. I will say thank you for your service. And I thank any veteran that has served, and I appreciate them. But to use that as a shield, honestly, is quite disgusting. To use that as a shield to protect yourself from criticism, saying you can't criticize me because I lost a leg in the war. No. Especially if you say such horrible garbage like you did. So Senator Duckworth, as much as I appreciate her service for our country, if you're gonna say that the speech that Trump did, for example, was a glorification of traitors, are you calling George Washington a traitor? You're calling Abraham Lincoln a traitor? No. Roosevelt. You're calling Roosevelt a traitor? Teddy Roosevelt? Really? No. The people that founded our country, the people that put in provisions in our Constitution and developed this system of governance, one of the, if not the first, representative government. That was created by the people, for the people. I mean, this is ridiculous. And she's a senator. So no, you know what? I'm okay with Tucker Carlson criticizing her. I'm okay with that, because if someone says that George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and people that have founded this country, people that have laid their lives down for this country, made enormous personal sacrifice for this country. The United States soil is soaked with the bloods of patriots. Okay? Whether you agree or not with these people, but our country, our soil is soaked with the blood of patriots that fought to build and preserve this country. And for someone like Senator Duckworth to use her service as a soapbox to call our founding fathers that fought a tyrannical government traitors, and to use her injuries and her service as a shield to protect her from criticism, that is nothing short of disgusting to me. But again, like I said, I'm not saying that I don't appreciate the fact that she did serve, and the fact that she did receive horrible injuries. She lost both her legs. Like I said, I thank her for her service. I thank her for her sacrifice. But don't think for 1 second that I'm not going to criticize someone just because they happen to be a veteran. Or I'm not going to criticize someone because they happen to be, injured during a war. I'm sorry, that doesn't preclude you from criticism. That doesn't make you immune from it. You say something stupid, like the founding fathers are traitors, and the speech was celebrating traitors. Guess what? Nope, I don't agree with that. Hello, sir. Some fucker. Is that what your how to pronounce your screen name, sir? Welcome to the stream. So yeah, I'm sorry. I don't agree with that. She said some pretty horrible crap about the United States, and if that's how she feels about the United States, she shouldn't be serving. She shouldn't have gone in the military. She shouldn't have become a senator. If she feels that this country is such a horrible piece of garbage country, leave. There's plenty of other countries out there, and I know a lot of people don't like it when people say that. Oh, hey, Spook. Okay, I didn't know that was one of your alts. Yeah, I did. A lot of people don't like it when you say, if you don't like this country, leave. Well, I'm sorry. If you don't like the United States, there's plenty of other countries to go to. And this has nothing to do with whether, it's an ethnic background thing. I don't care. You can be white. If you don't like this country, leave. No, nobody's holding a gun to your head to keep you in the United States if you think this country is so horrible. Simple. This isn't rocket science. Now, I wish everybody would love this country. I love this country. I love the United States. Does it have flaws? Sure. Every country has flaws. No country's perfect. Are there problems that need resolving? Sure, absolutely. Every country has problems. But by far, the United States is one of the most prosperous countries in the world. within its short history, it has created more prosperity for people. More people have come to this country than any other country to seek out a new life. And this country has given it to them. Whether they come here legally or even illegally. Even though they're not supposed to come here illegally. But they do, and they still are able to build a life. They make money, they go back to their country. A lot of people do that. Oh God, Joe Biden's back. No! Don't sniff me! Very funny, troll. But it's true, if you don't like the site, leave. What can I say? More coffee. Don't really means yes, Joe Biden. Oh God. Oh boy. Anyways, I'm actually reaching close to the conclusion of my stream for this morning. What's going on here? Sorry for the silence. I just saw something come down. Also, again, from the Supreme Court, it seems like the Supreme Court upheld Trump's decision to eliminate contraceptive care. Well, I don't know if it was Trump's decision, but Viagra was trending on Twitter, so I was wondering what the hell was going on with that. So, and of course, NPR has to put on their own ridiculous little spin on things. Trump administration ruled that significantly cut back the Affordable Care Act requirement for birth control, free birth control coverage. Okay, so here's the thing about birth control versus Viagra. I've been hearing this argument many times, and I guess since this has come up, I might as well talk about it. I've heard about that, troll, that some more stimulus stuff is supposed to come down. I don't know when. I've been hearing a lot about that, especially with people with kids. Apparently, you're supposed to get like 10 grand, or that's what Trump wants. At least he wants to give people a good amount of money if you have kids. And I don't know what the status of that is. Honestly, I haven't heard a whole lot. So I can't say one way or the other. I don't have any information on that, but I'm keeping my ear to the ground when it comes to that to see if there's any information that comes down. But going back to this whole Viagra versus birth control thing, so there's been a lot of people equate the two as if they're the same thing. First of all, they're not. There are two different types of medication. The main use of it are for two different reasons. Most people that take Viagra have an actual medical condition underlying that, which even if listen up, Joe, it's Viagra hour. Yeah, no, but on a more serious note, the argument for contraception is a lot of times people will say contraception is healthcare. That's not entirely accurate. There are situations where contraception can be used for legitimate medical reasons. And my personal opinion is that if there is a legitimate medical reason for something, and this has nothing to do with just birth control. This has to do with any medical condition. I'm speaking in general. If you take something that is more a lifestyle versus a actual legitimate medical condition, my personal opinion is that the legitimate medical condition should be covered, lifestyle should not. So if you take birth control because you have a hormonal imbalance and the birth control somehow fixes that, then I say let it be covered. But if your only medical condition is I don't want to get pregnant, or this is an impact on my lifestyle, then I'm sorry, I don't think that that's a legitimate medical reason that requires healthcare coverage for that particular medicine. Same goes with Viagra. If someone just wants Viagra because they want to just use it for fun, I don't see the reason for that. Most people that take Viagra usually do it because they have an underlying medical condition, though. Erectile dysfunction is a serious condition. It actually is an indication of other problems, like with your prostate, with other issues, circulation, blah blah. So at the end of the day, and I'll do this. I'll be fair and say, let me look and see if I can find some studies, because I don't have any hard data right now, because this just came up on Twitter as a trend. I'm just reacting to it in real time. So I would have to see what conditions are these medications prescribed. Like, how many times is Viagra prescribed to people for what underlying conditions? Because obviously certain conditions, even if you want Viagra, if you have certain conditions like a heart condition, you can't really use that. Things of that nature. So like I said, my opinion is things should be covered if there's a legitimate medical condition that requires it. And I'll just repeat myself, if you have a medical condition like a hormonal imbalance, or you have some other issue that contraception actually helps with that, then I don't see any reason why health insurance shouldn't cover it. But if it's just for your lifestyle, because you just want to have sex willy-nilly and you don't want to deal with the consequences of your actions, then yeah, that's it. The same with Viagra. If all you want Viagra for is just lifestyle, because you want to go at it for 4 hours, I mean, be my guest. But it's not. That shouldn't be covered. But if it's a legitimate medical reason, if you have a medical condition that's causing you problems in the bedroom, and you need that to just have a normal lifestyle, because of that medical condition, if it's a legitimate medical condition, I don't have a problem with that. So framing this the way the media frames this, and the way many activists frame this, that it's men deciding on women's bodies. No, it's not. It's really not. And to imply that there's like sexism or something like that, and to imply that men can't even have an opinion on this, is ridiculous. So I don't agree with this sort of framing of the argument. I think the framing is poor. I think it's designed to be inflammatory on purpose by people that just don't agree with this sort of thing. And the problem with that particular mandate as well, that was in the Affordable Care Act. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the political aspect of it here, the legal excuse me, aspect of it, is the fact that this was forcing like Catholic organizations to provide birth control. And the government has no place in doing that. You can't impose on religious organizations to do things that go directly against their religious convictions. So I don't think that that's the right thing to do. Joe can just keep sniffing himself. Leave me alone. I'm not interested. No means yes, huh? Well, what if I say yes? Does that mean no? Or does yes mean yes as well? Just asking for clarification, Joe. Mm. Well, I think we've reached close to the end of the stream here because my coffee's done. I've consumed all of it. He's begging for it, Joe. No, I'm not. Everything means yes. Somehow that doesn't surprise me. I'm not surprised at that. I sound like a married boomer. Do I? That's interesting. I never heard that perspective before. But I neither confirm nor deny. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's what my takes are like. All I'm saying is that, well, that's just how I feel about certain things. I try to be factual. I try to be reasonable. If they end up being milk toast libertarian, then that it is what it is. Don't call me daddy. Don't. What's private property? I don't quite follow. I'm not really, some people have asked me if I'm libertarian actually. I actually would want to kind of talk about that. Okay. Well, listen, some of my takes may sound libertarian. I'm not a pure libertarian. I find that the people that define themselves as libertarian have this kind of odd streak to them. It's hard to put my finger on, but if you listen to a lot of libertarians, um, they're like they're like so hard line on trying to be as reasonable as possible and no government involvement whatsoever on everything and all this. They have these kind of very interesting stances that um philosophically I may even agree with to an extent. But the problem is pragmatically it doesn't always work out. I love the quotes being taken out of context. But anyways, the point is, I don't define myself as a libertarian. I don't really follow. I've never prescribed to a specific political ideology. I've never defined myself as a Republican. I've never defined myself as a libertarian. I've only defined myself as Catholic. And I do lean conservative in my politics because of that. Because if you follow Catholic doctrine in its entirety, the only real choice is politically that you have to lean conservative. So Troll is saying the middle ground doesn't exist anymore, man. You're either a complete psycho, complacent, or reasonable, quote unquote, yet aiding the psychos, or terrible racist like me. We do live in a time of extremes. That is true. We do live in a very polarized, tribalistic society nowadays, which is a little unfortunate. I think though there is argument to be made that the middle ground kind of led the way to this because this is the problem with always trying to be um and it may get worse, it may, but the problem with always trying to be center on everything is that you end up having no values whatsoever. That is the big problem. I would argue that, troll, that the fence sitters did that. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that. And the problem with being a fence sitter all the time is that if you have no real clear values, eventually people are going to start taking a harder stance on things. And we've seen that in politics. Like in the past, you could be center and you would have more of a following. Like Clinton, for example, and the problem is this: Bill Clinton, for example, when he ran very center. He was not hard left when he ran. And then when he was in office, he went back to being far left Democrat. And a lot of politicians did that, which put a sour taste in the mouth of constituents. So if a lot of people see these people playing center and then switching once they are in office, then it's expected. It's expected that people are going to get upset at that, and people are going to be like, you know what? I'm not going to fall for the center garbage anymore. I'm gonna vote for someone who's more on my side of things, and people become more polarized because of that. Um, and then you have extremes. You have extremes in office right now. You have people like Senator Duckworth, who's saying that, you know, our founders are traitors. You have AOC, stupid, and did I mention stupid AOC, who says the most garbage, ridiculous things on this planet. You had Ilhan Omar doing a press conference on racism. This happened this morning. Ilhan Omar, the person who is anti-Semitic, has had anti-Semitic tweets, homophobic tweets, anti-American tweets, anti-white tweets, and you want to tell me that she's doing a press conference on racism? What, she's giving out lessons on how to be racist? Is that what she's doing the press conference about? Occasional cortex, yeah, I do find that funny when people call her that. But that's giving her credit, though, saying that occasionally she does have a brain. I have not seen any occasion where she does. So, I playing it safe and never choosing a side is a sign of intellectualism. Sargon of Akkad. Hello, Captain Smuckles. I always enjoy Sargon smuckling. Yeah, I know. Millennials and Zoomers will remember Bill Clinton election. Shake my damn head. I know. A lot of people don't remember that far back. Intellectualism. It's intellectual. Oh yeah, okay. I missed the ist part. I see that now. Yeah, but I mean, it's a reason for this galvanization. It's one of the reasons. It's not the only reason. And I know people's memories don't go that far back, especially for the younger generations. They don't look back at the history of politics. They only look at the present. I get that. And I think though it would behoove people to do some study in political science. Maybe, hey, I am the supreme reader. Okay, it's on my stream. Do not undermine my supreme reading authority here. If you make up words, that's that's a different issue. I mean, it's right there on the screen. That's my title. I'm the Supreme Reader. No, I'm. It's already been established that my reading skills are superior to spooks. This has been clearly established in the past. That's why I did not seek out the title. I did not seek out the title of Supreme Reader. It was bestowed upon me. It was thrust upon me. So all I can say is if the title was given to me, it wasn't self-appointed, my friends. All I can say is thank you, and I'll take the title. Don't give Joe ideas with that quote, sir. No. Come on, Spook. Don't be that way. It wasn't me. I didn't do it. Bitwave did it. They gave me the title. They said they claimed they made that claim. It wasn't me. Oh god. Joe's talking about thrusting here. Oh boy. Yep. it's I guess there's some truth to that. Sorry, Spook. Hey, listen, talk to dispatch about it. It was Chad. It wasn't me. It was. Hey, I didn't put that title onto myself. That's just a reality of the situation here, sir. Chat is quite to blame on this one, and chat always wins. So if chat's responsible, they win. Oh boy. Don't get Joe started. Well, see, Troll, I get your argument on that. For those that are reading on screen, he says, seriously though, Abyss, don't use the enemy's language. They're huge on semantics and trying to reframe everything so you can never lose, so they can never lose, automatically lose. I get that argument. At the same time, I think there's two sides to that, because if they say something is racist and then they themselves don't follow their own semantics, they don't follow their own rules, then it's the hypocrisy that I'm calling them out on. That's where I use their own language against them, because if they're gonna call like me racist, for example, for saying something, and then they say something anti-Semitic or homophobic or racist, like Ilhan Omar has many times. But somehow I'm not supposed to call out her hypocrisy. So okay, then I ask you this, Troll. So you're expecting people with no morals or standards to not be hypocritical and have morals and standards, though. Like I said, I get your argument. I do get that, but the thing is, if someone like Ilhan Omar says that, a white person is racist, and then says racist things herself, how am I supposed to call her out on that then? That's my question. How would you call her out for her racist remarks when she is criticizing like you of being a racist, for example, or me or someone else? Yeah, but that doesn't refute what they say. Or that doesn't point out their hypocrisy. That doesn't show them how wrong they are. I don't think it's effective. I don't think it's effective. That's the problem. And that's why, honestly, the reason why people like her and the mainstream media and politicians like Pelosi and other people have had like a decline in their polls in terms of approval and their trust that people have in there. Well, see, this is and that's a good point, Troll. But the thing is, I'm not calling her out, for example, for her to be introspective. I know she doesn't care. Like if I was having a face-to-face debate with Ilhan Omar, for example, and We could call each other racist all day. I can call her that, and she could call me that. The only reason that I would point out that she is racist, for example, or she is anti-Semitic, or she is homophobic, isn't for her to be introspective. It's for her supporters to see how much of a hypocrite she is. That is why I would point that out. I don't think people like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Louis Farrakhan, things like that, they're not gonna change their minds. Okay? They're not gonna change their minds about who they are and what they do and what they say. But the people supporting her, is, I think, more important. So I would much rather point that out for the people who support her to see exactly who they are supporting. And, like I said, I do get what you're saying. I know what you're saying when it comes to that. And that's a big problem. That there are sycophants, haters, complacent people, and the evil racists. Yeah. So it's a problem, and I feel that it should be called out. I feel that people should see the hypocrisy, and that's really the thing that gets me going when I see things in the media, tweets by these people. That's what really upsets me more than anything. It's not so much the crap that they're saying. It's the fact that you have supporters that defend them. That you have supporters that say, no, 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 it's okay for her to be anti-Semitic, for example, or it's okay for her to be racist or homophobic. But if someone says something similar, then oh no, that's a conservative saying it is evil, but a Democrat saying it, oh, that's perfectly fine because she's one of us. Nah, I don't agree with that. I just don't agree with that at all. So if I see that, I am compelled to reply. I am compelled to say something about it. Because if it's oh so evil for a conservative to say something that they deem as racist or homophobic when it's not even the case, and when they actually say something that's homophobic and actually say something that's racist, I'm gonna call it out. That's really what it boils down to. Yeah, I know that we're viewed as the enemy. I know. So I don't know. I just feel that Troll is saying, Abyss, you basically want to force people to be more intelligent. It's better to stay asleep inside the Matrix and yell racist plus homophobe at everything and not think. I do want people to be more intelligent. Thank you. You get it. I want people to evolve. I want people to be smart. I want people to use some of that gray matter that's in their skull. I want that. And I know it's a hard ask. I know it's a hard ask. I'll tell you a story and then we'll conclude the stream. I was once pining and complaining about society to a priest, mind you, and the priest told me, like, why am I so upset over this sort of thing? And I said, well, because I expect people to be smarter. I have a high expectation of my fellow human being. And the priest said to me, oh, your expectations are way too high. I'm like, what? was like, "You're a priest. What do you mean?" He goes, your average people aren't intellectual about things. They don't ponder and think and sit and just philosophize about all of these things. They just want to live their lives. They want to just go to work, pay their bills, raise their kids. Just live their lives. So I just found it hilarious that that perspective came from a priest of all people. That's all. So, but anyways, I just thought that was an interesting take that I was not expecting from clergy. But he did raise a valid point, is that most people don't spend a lot of time thinking about this. This is why the political state that we're in is what it is, because you don't have a large amount of participation in politics. You don't have a lot of informed people in politics. It's a problem. And and unfortunately the media doesn't help. The media doesn't help at all with this, with the misinformation that it provides. So it's creating a slippery slope. Joe is upset he's gonna have sloppy seconds after. Yeah, well, too bad for Joe, huh? But anyways, like I said, my coffee is done. I went through all my coffee. We talked a lot about all sorts of topics today. Tomorrow morning we're gonna do it again. Oh no, you don't want to listen to SSPX. They're insane. SSPX people are absolutely insane. But we could talk about that another time, going to this whole thing about Catholicism and radical traditionalists. And no. SSPX, they're heretical. So there's nothing fine about SSPX. I'm actually surprised you know about them. Interesting. No, that's they're quite insane. But I'm not gonna get into all that because the stream is over. I want to thank everybody for watching. I want to thank everybody on Bitwave, Periscope, DLive, and YouTube. As always, please follow on all my social media, on all the video platforms. I archive. I've been falling behind on archiving on Bitwave. I've forgiven me for that. And please support me, streamlabs.com/theeternalabyss. Thanks to everybody for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. If all goes well, I'll be here tomorrow morning. And tomorrow's Thursday, so we have our Thursday weekly stream in the evening as well. So we're going to have some fun. It's going to be more interactive. People can call in and talk. I mean, I already interact a lot with chat. But you can also call in Discord. The link is going to be, and it is right now, in the description of the stream. And we're going to see what we can do to make this more fun and interactive on Thursdays. And remember, kids, though, that I'm going to have to sign off as I usually do here. Remember, don't be complacent. If you're complacent, the other side will win. So go out there, register people to vote, put forth conservative views. Don't be silenced by the mob, and don't be silenced by big tech. Don't be complacent. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.